Good morning to you. Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here. Gonna not put the webcam on today so that you can see my lovely face. I look like I've been run over by a truck. Been out really late last night, finishing up putting the cameras out. But the more important thing is what's happening with Cristobal. And here's the visible satellite animation loading up from the Weather Nerds site. And you can see, yes, it is a fairly well organized low-level system. You know, the structure of it's pretty good, but it's lacking the deep convection. That is this right here, that right there. Those are convective blow-ups, if you will, thunderstorms. That's what would drive this to become stronger. There's not much of that. There's too much dry air involved, and as such, this is not going to be an especially strong system by any stretch. However, there have been and will continue to be fairly significant impacts for a lot of people. You have to keep it in perspective. No, this is not a hurricane, but yes, there are impacts. You saw the tornado yesterday in central Florida. We have rough surf, some storm surge flooding, heavy rain, and that's going to continue. And this will spread in all the way up into Canada, believe it or not, after this makes landfall. So what do we want to look for going forward? That's what I want to help you with today. You know, what do we expect from here on out? I'm putting this video together at, we'll just call it 9:15 Central Time, 10:15 Eastern Time. So what do we expect over the next 12 hours? Some of the keys to this, let's see if you watch radar and satellite yourself from either the weathernerds.org, right here is where I'm doing it, or you use Levi's site, Tropical Tidbits, if you're watching it on the Weather Channel, whatever the case may be. Let's look and see, do we see more of these bands of heavier convection fire up? There's some here over Mississippi. Any of these bands, there's another one down here, that begin to strengthen. Those will bring heavy rainfall and will help to bring any of the tropical storm wind down to the surface. We don't really have any way to predict this in advance. That's why you have to watch radar as an example. And here's the radar loop from, I think this is the Slidell, New Orleans office of the National Weather Service. And you can see these large bands of rain moving through. Some of these individual cells could produce water spouts. We saw that this morning off the coast of Gulf Shores and Fort Morgan in Alabama. So those are impossible situations to predict. There was a tornado warning a little while ago right here where I am in the Gulfport area. That's going to be the hazard, or one of the hazards. This is I-10 that cuts through here. Lots of commerce, people driving trucks, whatever, vacationers, just business travelers, you name it. That's a busy corridor. Rainfall on that corridor could be problematic. There's 65 coming down into Mobile, 59 south of Hattiesburg, and eventually 55 coming in south of Macomb in Mississippi. So those hazards, the heavy rainfall, and that rain, if you don't remember, tropical rain can be blinding and it can pond to the road very quickly. So these are hazards that if you're not careful can wreck your vehicle. With the heavy rainfall, you lose control, you wreck your vehicle, and you can lose your life. All right, so no, we're not going to have any massive 10-foot storm surge and 100-mile-per-hour winds. It's just a minimal tropical storm, but it's got some impacts that can be quite problematic if you don't use common sense. And here's a great way to understand this from a science perspective. This company right here, RMS H-Wind, world-class hurricane weather analytics platform. And they have observation and objective-based information, which is very, very helpful to understand the science. And this tweet I thought was very relevant, that based on reconnaissance and other measurements, that's what they're indicating here, Cristobal's intensity remains near 50 miles per hour. Again, not especially strong, obviously, I get that, but here's the deal. Large outer extent of winds, greater to tropical storm, those winds being stronger than tropical storm, are producing, and here's this cool word, for those of you that are into physics, integrated kinetic energy of 16 terajoules. What does that mean? I don't know how to explain it from a mathematical perspective, but I do know how to explain it in a very simple format. A lot of energy from a relatively weak storm being transferred and translated into the Gulf of Mexico here, especially in this orange area, and that's all pushing towards this region right here, where we will have, as they say, significant storm surge despite the lack of a Saffir-Simpson rating. Very important. This is a fantastic tweet underscoring that you don't have to have a Saffir-Simpson scale category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hurricane to get a storm surge. And it's this corner right here that I am most concerned with. The westernmost counties of Mississippi, Hancock and Harrison. There's 3 coastal counties. It's Hancock and Harrison that I'm worried about, and then southeast Louisiana, and the usual areas that see storm surge. And I'll show you this, what it looks like in a moment. The other aspect of this, ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot of states that this is going to cover after landfall. And it's going to get involved with some energy that's going to come out of the jet stream and create like a larger storm system. The remnants of Cristobal up here will be more powerful wind-wise in terms of the actual wind, probably 50, 60 mile per hour, maybe stronger near the lakes, because it's going to transform into sort of a hybrid system after that landfall today. Then the tropical system down here it sort of does this. You remember Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, the first one, episode 4, where he tells Darth Vader, if you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can ever imagine, or something like that. These systems do that. They transform into stronger systems sometimes. And this is going to be the case. And look at all the hazards painted in the central U.S. based on what's expected after Cristobal makes landfall. Flood watches in most of Florida. This is all heat, and then you actually have some winter weather as trough energy dives into the western United States. But this is going to be a big problem for a lot of people all the way up into southern Canada. I kid you not. It's not hype, it's reality, man. It's coming. So be ready for that. All right. After working yesterday with Greg Nordstrom, and then the Weather Channel's very own Charles Peak. You've seen him on the Weather Channel. He joined us last night. He's staying at the same hotel as I. And the 3 of us all worked, mainly Greg and I yesterday, but Charles hung out with me last night to keep me company. And we set out all 6 cameras. This is what they look like. This is over in Mandeville on the North Shore, the lake area. Not too bad. Although, I think this one could flood after Cristobal goes by. And let's look at this radar one more time. There it is. Once the storm makes landfall, actually let me use the visible shot and we'll stop it. There we go. After this makes landfall, oh, for Pete's sake, there. Third take. After this makes landfall, we get the center up here and the winds come out of the south across Lake Pontchartrain. I think there's a chance that we could push some of that lake water over Lakeshore Drive in the Mandeville and Madisonville, whatever, I can't remember, I'm sorry. But the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, I think, could still get some storm surge flooding. We'll see, literally, because I have a camera there. Biloxi, Mississippi, this is literally sitting on the Jersey wall on Highway 90. These cameras are absolutely amazing. For this shot, I like to see the traffic. Maybe the surge comes across the road here, but I'm also looking for water spouts. Yeah, that's a nice wide shot that these Nest cams give us. Gulfport, Mississippi, again, the water probably going to come up another couple of feet. Eventually, this parking area here at the Small Craft Harbor, thanks to George and his crew for once again working with us to put a camera out there. We'll be watching that. Maybe it'll flood. It is flooding, as you would expect, over in Hancock County. That's the Silver Slipper. You can see the waves crashing up against the little wall there. And this is very vulnerable with just southeast winds of 20 knots. But the water will probably come up eventually to about right here. That's my guess. And, anybody traveling to the Silver Slipper via Highway 90, or the beach road, sorry, you can forget it. Today, not happening. Past Christiane, got the camera right down at the marina. Last night and yesterday, the water was here. Now it's pushed up to here. And this is what we'd expect to happen. I'm not shocked. This is not amazing video. It's just a way to monitor the impacts in 6 different places at one time. I can't be in all these places at one time physically, but I want to see what the storm does myself. And so I provide this service. It's neat, it's unique, it's innovative, and it captures this, and it captures Category 5 Michael and everything in between. That's the way I look at it. This is all on our HurricaneTrack Insider site. How do you get access to that? You become one of our patrons. All about the crowdfunding, hurricane information, the membership. That's what it is. It's the membership to a co-op. $10 a month gets you access to all the cameras, and you can downgrade to $1 after you're, maybe you need to save money in July and August, but another hurricane comes along in September. You can change your membership back to $10. It's kind of like Netflix, where you can change your membership based on your needs. And this tells you what you get at each of the levels. And even the $25 one, I send you one of our tracking maps. It's a paper one. You get access to all the stuff that we do. And I put your name in the credits of a future show that I produce, the Hurricane Highway series. All of our podcasts, all of our documentaries, you get access to that at the $10 level and up. So that's how that works. And in the end, I'm able to show this, these cams on air. We share it with the Weather Channel, local media, WWL, WLOX. In this case, down here for Cristobal. And it just helps the greater good at the end of the day. Supported by you fine folks via Patreon. All right? I also tweet at HurricaneTrack. I'm on YouTube. HurricaneTrack, that's the brand, Hurricane TRACK. And I appreciate everyone who has supported us to make this happen. It's an awesome team effort. I'm just the lead singer of the band, so to speak. The rest of the band behind me is what makes this happen. All right, so I'll be out and about in a few hours in the vehicle, and I'll have the vehicle cam. In fact, that's what that one is right there in the left-hand corner. It turned off because the battery ran out while I was sleeping to the power supply. No biggie. I'll fire it back up later, probably after about noon Central Time. So please be careful out there. Use your noggin, use your common sense, and you'll do fine. There might be some power outages, but overall not a big-time event unless it is for you. And that is the point of this discussion. We have to be ready these next 12 hours, and then this will move inland, and we will go from there. All right, have a great rest of your Sunday. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. I do appreciate it. I'm Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. I'll see you from the vehicle later today.